No one is born stupid, but some people spend years repeating the same phrases that make them appear foolish. Without realizing it, some simple expressions you say can make you come across as weak, fearful, and thoughtless. The most dangerous part is this: while saying these words, you might actually believe you're right, even smart. In this video, I will show you 6 phrases that foolish people always say but never truly think about. When these words come out of your mouth, remember, you're not just forming sentences, you're revealing your life philosophy. These are not just words, they signal weakness, fear, and irresponsibility. If any of these phrases have crept into your life, you need to watch this video until the end, because Stoic philosophy doesn't teach you to be silent. It teaches you to speak thoughtfully if you want to live your life smarter, stronger, and with more control. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Here you'll find ideas that will shake you, awaken you, and help you change. If you're ready, let's begin. 1. I am who I am. I can't change. At first glance, this sentence might seem honest. Some even present it as a form of truthfulness. But in reality, it's one of the most dangerous excuses used by people who don't want to change and attempt to hide their laziness, fear, and irresponsibility. When a person says, I am who I am, I can't change, what they're really saying is, I don't want to put in the effort to fix my mistakes. I'm not being honest with myself. I'm avoiding responsibility. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, you cannot control the past, but you can control the choices you make in this moment. There's a deep truth here. People are not unchangeable. We're not made of stone. If a habit is harmful, it can be changed. If your behavior harms you and those around you, walking away from it is the sign of a wise person. Thinking I was born this way is giving control of your life to someone else, as if life controls you, not the other way around. But Stoics said, a rational person can be reborn at any moment. Remember, growth means change. Only the brave accept this. A foolish person clings to their old self and wastes their days. In truth, this phrase signals, I don't want to be responsible. But the core principle of Stoic philosophy is this: you must take responsibility for your own life. Blaming others or your character is your weakness. So don't say, I am who I am. I can't change. Instead say, I am working on myself. Every day I try to be a little better. Because no one is incapable of change. There are only people unwilling to change. The second most common phrase fools say, everyone does it. Why should I be different? This sentence is the silent, cruel hypnosis of society. Many people hold this thought inside. Some say it openly. And so people who think differently, act differently, and follow what they believe is right are either mocked or left alone. Because for the majority, being different is dangerous. It requires responsibility. But Stoic philosophy sees being different not as arrogance but as courage. Marcus Aurelius wrote, if something aligns with reason and virtue, why should I hesitate to do it? This thought carries great freedom, because many people make decisions not based on their own minds, but on others' expectations. They get married because everyone else does. They go into debt because everyone takes loans. They aren't happy. They just copy someone else's life script. But the Stoics said, don't look at what the crowd is doing. Look at why they are doing it. If people do something without thinking, simply out of habit or fear, you should not repeat it. Because the majority is not always wise. The most used path is not necessarily the right path. The most commonly held opinion is not always the correct one. Think for a moment, when have people who left a mark in history ever been just like everyone else? Socrates, he opposed the thoughts of society and was sentenced to death. Epictetus, he was a slave, yet his ideas surpassed emperors. So don't say everyone does it. It's a way to silence your personal will, to suffocate your conscience, and to legitimize lazy thinking. This phrase is a softer, cowardly way of saying, I obey others' choices. In reality, the answer to this question is simple. Why should you be different? Because you are not a machine. You are not a copy, but a unique created being. Every morning when you wake up, you have the right to choose. You either live without thinking, or you choose a path guided by your mind, conscience, and virtue. The Stoics said, "Life is not a play. You are not an actor in it. You are the writer of this life. And you must write your own script, not the crowd's, but with your own reason." The third most common phrase used by foolish people is, "I wasn't lucky." This phrase is the easiest excuse for failure. Whenever someone sees things not going well in their life, they want to blame someone else. Sometimes their parents, sometimes the government, sometimes luck. Saying "I wasn't lucky" actually means, I don't want to understand the causes of my results. I don't want to take responsibility. I will repeat the same mistakes. But Stoic philosophy completely rejects this way of thinking. Seneca said, "Luck is what happens when preparedness meets opportunity." What does this mean? It means luck doesn't come by itself. Luck is an opportunity that comes when you are ready. To take advantage of this opportunity, you must be prepared, alert, and strong-willed. Otherwise, every opportunity will just look like bad luck to an unprepared person. Imagine this. Two people are given the same chance. One is someone who has prepared for years, gained knowledge and learned from mistakes. The other is someone who just sits and complains about fate, unwilling to put in any effort. What happens? The first person succeeds and people say they were lucky. But that success is the result of hidden efforts, silent nights, and unseen determination. The second person fails to seize the opportunity and says, "I wasn't lucky." But what they lack is not luck. It is preparation, effort, and responsibility. The Stoic said failure is a result, not for complaining, but for learning. A wise person analyzes their failure. Why didn't it work? Where did I make a mistake? What should I change? Because they know an unrepeated mistake is the foundation of future success. But what does a foolish person do? Repeats the same mistake again, gets the same result, and still blames luck. This mindset keeps you stuck in a swamp. Because when you say, "I wasn't lucky," you hand over control of your life to luck. But remember, luck doesn't check whether you are ready or not. It just comes and goes. So if you're not ready, who is to blame? The Stoics teach us that life is not chance, it is a chain of choices. And each link in this chain either lifts you up or pulls you down. So don't say, "I wasn't lucky." Say instead, "This time it didn't happen. I will learn a lesson. I will be even more prepared for the next opportunity." Because real luck is the result of patience, effort, and wise decisions. You've probably heard this from many people. "I was angry. That's why I said it." This is the fourth most common phrase used by fools. These words are the surrender of a person defeated in an internal battle. If someone says whatever comes to mind every time they get angry, it means they don't control themselves. They just react. Reaction is instinct. It is part of our animal nature. What does it mean to be human? To be able to think, to be able to choose, to be able to restrain oneself. If you say whatever comes to mind in anger, none of these qualities belong to you. Then you are not yourself. You are a slave to your anger. In Stoic philosophy, speaking in anger or making decisions while upset is considered a moral and spiritual weakness, because anger is like a fog that clouds the mind. When it comes, you can neither see what is right nor what is wrong. Epictetus said, "If something disturbs you, it is not the thing itself, but the meaning you give it." In other words, anger comes not from the external event, but from your internal interpretation. Understanding this gives a person incredible power, because then you realize, no one can control my state of mind. Nothing can make me angry unless I allow it. This is emotional freedom. Imagine someone insults you. You have two choices. One, instant reaction. You get angry, shout, respond with words. In the end, you regret it. Maybe a relationship breaks, an opportunity is lost, or you just spend the night tormented by your conscience. Two, you take a deep breath. You don't respond immediately. You think. You either respond later or don't respond at all. You win because you didn't lose yourself. Staying calm is not cowardice. It is the peak of strength. Because whenever a person can remain calm in the midst of anger, that person fully feels their inner power. According to the Stoics, anger is a brief madness, and the words spoken and actions taken during this madness sometimes turn into a lifetime of regret. A foolish person would say, "I said it because I was angry." A wise person understands. Words are like arrows. Once released, you cannot take them back. That's why controlling yourself is more important than responding to others.
Because one who cannot control themselves cannot control others.
One who cannot calm their inner world cannot bring peace to the outside world either.
Remember,
True strength is not in raising your voice, but in knowing when not to raise it. True dignity is not in saying everything, but in knowing when to remain silent. And true superiority is not in defeating the other person, but in not losing yourself. Now let's move on to the fifth foolish phrase. This won't change anything anyway. A person who says this has already lost without fighting. In reality, this phrase is a disguised form of surrender, defeat, and despair. And when someone says this, what they really mean is, I don't want to try. I will complain about the outcome without doing my best. But Stoic philosophy rejects this mindset completely. According to them, life is not something that won't change. It will change depending on your attitude. Marcus Aurelius said, if something is in your control, change it. If not, accept it. So have you done your part? Have you done what you can? Have you pushed yourself to the limits of your efforts? Or are you covering your laziness with philosophy early on by saying, what's the point? A person who says nothing will change denies their own potential, doesn't understand that a small step can bring great results, reduces their will, power, and influence to zero, and chooses to watch life passively. But the Stoics believed that if there is an area a person can control, avoiding responsibility, there is simply foolishness. Let's say the economic situation is bad. The environment is full of difficulties. People don't understand you. Yes, it's hard. We don't deny that. But you can improve yourself. You can learn more. You can live healthier. You can become more patient, wiser, and think more strategically. So accept what you cannot change, but don't deny what you can change. Lighting a candle in the dark is better than just saying it's dark. Because when a person says nothing will change anyway, they become part of the darkness. But when they say, this is what I can do, I will do it, that's when they start lighting a light.
remember,
Today's hard work brings tomorrow's comfort. Today's change is the seed of tomorrow's revolution. Breaking your silence today can be the turning point of a lifetime. If everyone said nothing will change anyway, there would be no justice, no progress, and no development. That's why the Stoics said, life is hard, yes, but it is not to make you passive. It is to awaken you. If you can breathe in a room, move and think, then why do you say nothing will change anyway? Maybe it will change. Maybe you will change. And that very change might save a life, maybe several lives. Here's something interesting for you. Foolish people see money as the meaning of life. That's why they often say money is everything. This is the sixth most used phrase by fools. Using this phrase openly reveals the deepest poverty of the human soul. Because according to Stoic philosophy, true value is not in money, but in a person's inner world, their virtue, wisdom, and tranquility. Seneca said, if only money makes you happy, your soul is very poor. There is a paradox here. Money is often considered a means to happiness, but actually, if money is your only source of happiness, it shows how shallow and narrow your soul is. You have never truly reached yourself, your own worth, or your inner richness. Money can be a tool or a chain. Money itself is not bad. Money is just a means. But when you put it at the center of your life, you deprive yourself of freedom. A person who loses everything for money is actually giving up true values. They lose friends, respect, conscience, peace, and maybe even health. Yet none of these can be measured by money. These losses lead a person to real poverty, spiritual poverty.
What did the Stoics say?
Virtue is the most valuable wealth a person can have. Wise thinking is the key to understanding life and directing it. Tranquility, staying calm inside in every situation, is true freedom. Money is just a useful tool in the external world, but the richness of the soul and inner value are far more important. Imagine, you may have millions of dollars in your hand, but if you are constantly anxious, stressed, or angry, what can that money give you? In a silent night, alone with yourself, what is most precious to you? Money or peace? You are rich, have lots of money, but if people do not love or respect you, what good is that wealth? True wealth is not in money, but in the soul. Don't sacrifice everything for money. Don't be a slave to money. Be a person who respects yourself, who has inner freedom and a peaceful spirit. Because the greatest treasure is not money, but self-awareness and finding happiness within yourself. Yes, money is important, but it should never be the only goal in life. A person who chases money desperately is actually in great poverty, because they have never discovered the deep riches of the soul. A foolish person often doesn't realize their own foolish words. They speak and act without understanding themselves or the impact they have on others. But you can be different. That's why pay attention to your words, because they are the voice of your thoughts and the shadow of your character. Being stoic is not just about staying silent. It means speaking the right thing at the right time, showing your inner strength and wisdom. Now the choice is yours. Do you want to continue in foolishness, or do you want to grow and change your life? If these thoughts are valuable to you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Like the video, share it, and spread these deep truths with your friends. Together, let's be wiser, stronger, and calmer. With Stoic philosophy, it is possible to truly win at life. Join us on this path